Well, today is not your typical Thursday wrestling due to the fact that my theory was right. Normally on a Thursday we do MLW, Impact Wrestling, and ROH. However, due to the circumstances, Impact Wrestling has now reverted back to TNA, so they did not do any shows whatsoever, but they went back to their history, which normally we already know the history of them, the matches, best moments, all that, so there's no point doing that. MLW, well, nothing. But luckily for me, we do have Ring of Honor. So we do have that. So we do have some very good, interesting matches that took place on this particular one. And then, of course, we're going to be reviewing the latest shows that happened on a Thursday, especially in Japan. We have Stardom with the Stardom Gate that took place, where we have some interesting matches. Amongst them is the IWGP Women's Championship. Mayu Iwatani defends it against Sudi. And then we move on with, of course, New Japan Pro Wrestling with Wrestle Kingdom 18. You all know this is the WrestleMania of New Japan. I'm so excited. But first things first, I mentioned this before. There's still some wrestling shows from 2023 I have yet to see. On the last episode, I actually reviewed Tokyo Pro Wrestling collaborating with Prestige Wrestling. Well, in this one, we have SEAdLINNNG with their last show of 2023 that happened on December 20th of 2023 called The Last Battle. It features, of course, the main event, the Beyond the Sea Championship. Sareee, or as we know her NXT, Sareee defends it against Ayami, and that's going to be a very good match to enjoy as well. And then we move on with some news updates to tell what's been going on in the world of pro wrestling, such as updates from the promotions on their events, who's booked, what matches are set, and of course developments that's been happening in the world of pro wrestling, such as major announcements, um, very bad situations, the whole 9 yards. So let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world where pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. If I'm unable to put some news updates on this episode, I can do that by itself on a separate video. We also do some real timing news updates. If something happened on that it needs to be addressed, we can do that too. And we do various other cool stuff as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us. So click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of pro wrestling reviews daily, and of course, and other cool stuff on this channel. But also, if you like this episode, please give us a like. So click on that like button or a nice comment down in the description down below. If you guys have noticed, yes, the All In original hat. I got this right after the All In show at Pro Wrestling Tees. I think they discontinued those, but luckily I decided to wear it just for you guys. But anyway, let's get started with our very first review. This is from the Yoshi promotion, SEAdLINNNG, with their last show of 2023, Last Battle. Now, our opening match started out with a tag team match. We have Chi Chi from Evolution teaming up with GTO's very own, and people like to call her Tam Nakano's clone, Misa Kagura. They take on Izuki Aoki and you. So yeah, so it's a pretty good match. But what I did like about this, of course, there was moments where we see Misa Kogura, who I like to say that she does have a bit of a power strength in this. She even went head on with you on various occasions. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case because Chi Chi was actually got pancaked by none other than you when she did a big splash on her. Not to mention, Chi Chi has been one of the most prominent wrestlers in Evolution. But she did pretty good job. But however, you have the much experience and the most powerful wrestler like you, and of course, Izuki Aoki as well. So they picked up the W, and that's pretty much it from there. Now, we had a very interesting match that took place. We had a high speed tag team match. Now, if you guys are unfamiliarized with SEAdLINNG, let me clarify what this is about. You have seen the high speed matches that happen in Stardom, like the high speed title. Well, in this one, they take it a bit more serious. So you get a much faster count. Instead of count like this, like 1, 2, 3, it's 1, 2, 3, just like that. That fast. However, this one was a very interesting one. It started out with a more like males versus female match. For the male side, we have Sugi, who I've seen before, especially when he was had his time with AAA. He teams up with Ikudo Idaka. They take on Ka Kedida and La Pedida. However, this match ended in 10 seconds flat with, of course, Idaka applying an inside cradle onto Kedida to pick up the win. However, during a post match, apparently Kedida did not feel like this was a proper high speed match. So I don't know exactly what she said, but for me, I felt like she wanted to is asking, let's restart the match, but let's how do I say, change up the deck here. So basically, Kedida decided, how about me team up with you, Idaka, and Shugi teams up with Pedida. So basically, they did a little switcheroo here. So, of course, but the one thing that was funny is Kedida knows that Hidaka comes out in his ring entrance wearing a mask, so he's saying, you got to wear your mask the entire time while we wrestle. I'm like, I thought that's genius right there out of her part. I mean, at first she never did like wearing masks, but she seems to embrace it. But the match was pretty good. There was some good moments. I wasn't too sure how this was gonna exactly end up because it was high speed. But Kedida picked up a huge win when she put her tag her well supposed friend and tag partner now Pedida into the Magistral, and it was 1, 2, 3 over, just like that. But I thought it was pretty great. Now our next match is a very interesting um 6-woman tag team match. Team number one, we have Mai Yukihi, Makoto, and Surimi Natsu. They take on Nagisa Nozaki, Veni, and Mima Shinoda. Now, one thing that was interesting during the entire the match, Makoto seems to have, let's say, doesn't want to face her friend Veni. The reason behind that is because both of them are part of of a group known as the La Fresca Egoistas. So basically, she would never face her own friend, but for some odd reason, she decided this match went into a 4-on-2 scenario. So yeah, it was strange, but I don't know if they're telling the story. However, it was Veni with a moonsault on Tsuruminatsu that picked up the win. However, when Tsuruminatsu thought she had people by her side, well, the only person she thought that was by her side, Maya Yukihi, decided that she's gonna hang out with the others, with Shinoda, Veni, Nozaki, and of course Makoto. So I don't know if they're forming their own faction because I know Veni and Makoto have their own faction. The La Frescas or Egoistas either attacked him or disabled. I don't know. That is still unclear to me. But seems Saruminatsu is like completely distraught, like she felt that she was alone. I wouldn't be surprised if she tried to make new friends, but That's what exactly happened. Now, our next match, we have a very interesting tag match. We have Lady Destroyer Hiromu Matsumoto teaming up with Anarchy Ryo Mizunami. They take on Shizako and Ariza Nakajima. I have to say, this match had a lot of the powerhouse elements in this one. But I have noticed multiple times from Matsumoto that she was applying the backdrop driver on Nakajima on various occasions. I'm sure Nakajima hasn't forgotten. If you guys remember, last year or early next year, somewhere around there, Nakajima got injured when she was the Beyond the Sea champion, but she had to relinquish the belt, all thanks to Matsumoto. But Matsumoto this time did not injure Nakajima, but she seems okay. But it was Matsumoto who picked up the win with the backdrop driver onto Nakajima to pick up the win. Now, our main event is the SEAdLINNG Beyond the Sea Championship. This is the top title of SEAdLINNG. We have the challenger Ayame Sazamura versus Sareee, or as we know her in NXT, Sareee. So, as you know, Sareee made her return to SEAdLINNG. She has been with with this promotion before, but that was back then. At the time, she was used to be the ace of Diana, but now she's making her own mark here. So Ayame Suzumura uh, issued the challenge for this, and I thought it was a pretty good one. I have to say, Suzumura really had a very fighting spirit style. However, she was no match for the experienced wrestler like Sareee when she put, once again, like Matsumoto, multiple backdrop drivers, and boom, just like that, put her out, retain the belt. So I have to say it was a pretty good show. I think the last two ones were more hard hitting and brutality, in my opinion. But it was a good one. So I think that's pretty much it what we have for this promotion with SEAdLINNG. Let's move on with Stardom Gate. Okay, Stardom, as you know, started 2024 with a good moment with New Year, uh, New Year stars. Now we have their second show that was after this one. The what's it called? The Ittenyeon Stardom Gate took place exactly around the time of Wrestle Kingdom, but before that. However, we let's get started with this whole thing. It opened up with, of course, Rana Yagami teaming up with Hanako and Yuzuki. They take on Sayaka Kurata and the members of Queen's Quest, Lady C and Hina. Now, throughout the entirety of this match, you can tell there's a bit of animosity between both Hanako and Yuzuki. Hanako has questioned how is it possible that someone like Yuzuki, who only had a 1 month of experience, somehow picked up the win. And of course, Hanako felt that she didn't have that. Like, her aspect is like, it didn't take me like a month to win. I mean, yes, it takes time, but for somehow I did mention I feel like Yuzuki is one of those prominent wrestlers that do have a bright future in pro wrestling. However, as you know, for recently in the last show, they had the Rookie of Stardom 2023. Yuzuki won first place, Hanako runner up, and she was frustrated that she couldn't believe it. She thought that because she has more experience than Yuzuki, it was going to win. But you can tell in this match, it's always been like, who's going to pick up the win between the two of them? Well, unfortunately, it was Yuzuki with the rolling arrow onto Kurara, just like that. But of course, Hanako is not too pleased with the idea that somehow this person who has less experience than her picked up the win. So yeah, so we could see a bit of a um, showed a bit of a feud storyline between Hanako and Yuzuki. So that is something we should pay attention to. Now, our next match, we have members of Oedo Tai, Fukigen Def, Rina, and Starlight Kid, taking on the members of Stars, consisting of Saya, Ida, Hanan, and Azuki. So, as always, we see a lot of good things, but however, this match went into the final stages with the two sisters, Rina and Hanan. Now, keep in mind, Hanan is the older sister of Rina, and of course, Rina always felt that she should have been the bigger star than her sister. But, however, Hanan always proven why she is the future ace of Stardom when she applied the Hanan special onto her to pick up the win. Now, I know some of you may think, saying, will Hana challenge Rina for the future of Stardom? Well, it is a possibility, but I highly doubt that she would go for that belt. I mean, she does have 10 consecutive defenses as the future champion. That's the highest that anyone has gotten. So I wouldn't be surprised if Rina would be the one to try to break the record. But I don't know. We'll see where that goes. um, our next match, we have another tag team match. We have DDM Tekla and Mai Sakurai taking on a very interesting duo, Mina Shirakawa and Mei Sita. Now, recently we have seen Mina and Mei outside the ring training with each other. So many people question Mariah May is not going to like this because Mariah May does find her annoying. But it's very interesting. Their combination has been. We know that Tekla has tried the take the high speed belt off of May Sita, but no success. And of course, Mai Sakurai has been very unsuccessful in defeating Mina Shirakawa. If you guys remember, both of them used to be Cosmic Angel members. But in this case, it was May Sita who picked up the win with a with a Magistral 1, 2, 3. It was over right from there. Now, our next match, we have a very interesting one. We have Oedo Tai, consisting of Ruka, Momo Watanabe, and Natsuko Tora, taking on the returning of Saki from Colors, and also an ally to the Cosmic Angels. Well, she teams up with the Cosmic Angels. Well, the ones who are currently active, as you know, two of them are out on injury. Yuna Mizumori, who Saki is good friends and tag partners before going to Stardom, and Sayuri Onoi. So this was a very interesting combination. Now, if some of you may say, did the Cosmic Angels do the KAOZ in that? Well, it was just Saki and Yuna. Sayuri Onoi, she's a bit, how do I say this? Not weird, but more like, well, she's being Sayuri Onoi, just like that. But however, I have to say this was a pretty good one because you can tell they're building up momentum for Sayuri Noi ever since she won the white belt. And she picked up a very good win when she applied the Teppen Tantrum onto Ruka to pick up the win. As soon as the match was over, she glanced over to Starlight Kid, who was at the commentary desk. So basically, we know that, what's her name? Starlight Kid has a desire to win, of course, the white belt, but has no success. But I wouldn't be surprised if she's the one who will be the next challenger. Now, our next match, we have God's Eye, consistent of Saki Kashima, Ami Suri, and Mirai. They take on the the strongest core members of Queen's Quest, Azumi, Sayakami Tani, and Utami Ayashida. So I thought this was a very interesting match. Of course, Queen's Quest are back stronger than ever were before with the returning of Kamitani and Utami. But it was Saki Kashima who suffered the fate of the German suplex by Utami to pick up the win. Now, our next match, this was a match that was changed on the card right after the main event of Dream Kingdom last month. If you guys remember, Zuzu completely did not win the red belt, felt completely frustrated. Julia even decided to team up with her to take on Micah and Megan Bain. And of course, that match took place. But you can tell that Zuzu still has that bit of an animosity towards Micah for winning the belt. Zuzu felt that she should have won this belt instead, but Micah felt that Zuzu is an incompetent champion who doesn't represent Stardom. However, all of that was going that the match ends in a 15-minute time limit draw. However, in the post-match, Julia dropped a bombshell that put the entire wrestling world in total shock, sadness, whatever emotion you felt. She announced that as of that day, DDM are disbanded. Now, let's talk a little bit about that. Why would Julia do that? Well, I know some of you are saying this, that the reason is because we know in recent times Julia has been in talks with WWE. Her contract with Stardom ends in March, and there's that. But I like how the story was being told in this capacity, where, of course, Julia's felt ever since DDM was formed, the original members of DDM has always been um, herself, Micah, and Sudi. Now, there's a reason behind that. Anybody notice something? All three original members of DDM is either a current or a former Red Belt champion. Yes, Julia's a former Red Belt champion, so is Sudi, and now Micah. But she did stated at some point in the past, when they formed this group 4 years ago, that this was going to be it. That, okay, everybody had their own red belt. It's time to move on. So, what happens after that? Well, we know that Tekla said that she's going to take some time off, but she will be back stronger than ever. And she said that she likes to rekindle her rivalry towards Julia. Now, some of you may say, really? She would do that? Yes. I mean, look, they known each other during their time in Ice Raving. Of course, they were rivals. And as for my Sakurai, well, I like to call her Julia's puppy because she's too afraid to do things on her own, but she said that she will follow Julia. But what's interesting is Julia applied the roll call. She not only called out what was the current members of DDM, Micah, Tekla, and Mai Sakurai. She even called out Shuri, Mirai, Natsupoi, and Himeka. So, yes. So, as of today, DDM is no more. But Julia said that she is willing to go back to being a lone wolf. So, that's kind of interesting to hear. So, we'll see. But, as I said before, we know she's been in talks with WWE. We don't know for sure. Now, Dave Meltzer believes that highly likely she would sign with WWE. We still haven't heard anything from her. But I would like to say, let's just wait and see what she does. I feel that whatever move she makes, we'll find out. But right now, let's move on with our final match, which is the IWGP Women's Championship. Now, as you know, Sudi issued this challenge last month in December at the year-end climax. And of course, their history goes back even deeper. Shuri has always felt that Mayu Iwatani has always been the one person that eluded her. Basically, Mayu Iwatani has always been avoiding her. Now, I have to say that this match was so intense. I mean, I have to say that Shuri really, really put Mayu Iwatani into her limits, pushed her to her limits. I'm just, wow. You probably would have thought that, okay, that was it. Mayu Iwatani loses the belt. But no, she pulled off the Hurricanrana. No, the Poison Rana. 1, 2, 3. It was over. Of course, Shuri's disappointed that she did not win this belt. But right now, I feel she needs to concentrate in defending the artist belts with Ami Suri and Mirai. But she said in the post-match comments that she will one day get another opportunity of the IWGP Women's Championship. So we'll see what happens until then. I think that's pretty much it with Stardom, let's move on with New Japan Pro Wrestling. Okay, New Japan Pro Wrestling's Wrestle Kingdom 18, the WrestleMania of New Japan Pro Wrestling at the Tokyo Dome, as always. Now, like any other show, it starts out with a sort of like a pre-show for the New Japan Rambo match for a shot of the KOPW championship. Now, the idea of this match is that you can take as much time as you need because all you need to do is be the last four individuals in the ring, and whoever is standing will be taking a shot to become the next KOPW champion of this year. Now, if the previous KOP is the current KOPW champion is still standing, then he is still the champion until he's not. So we had like tons of wrestlers. I mean, we have members of the House of Torture, consistent, of course, of Dick Togo, uh, Yujiro, Sho. We had Yo, who was acting kind of weird. We had the rival of Fujita Junior Hayato being there. I was surprised. Um, Cobb, Khan, and Hinare, Chase Owens, Taiji Shimori, many others. But I can tell you who ended up being the last four. We have Taiji Shimori, Yo, Toru Yano, and Great Khan. Now, what's interesting, Yano has already been champion at least twice. Uh, but it was rather interesting that he found the way. But what's interesting as well, that how come Taichi got eliminated? Well, that's the easiest thing. His old pal Ishika shows up out of nowhere. He thought he could rely on him, but he attacked him, which was total messed up. But yeah. Now, our next match is the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship, which is part of the main card. Now, the War Dogs were confident enough to believe that TJP has not come back since they locked them up in a coffin. However, what's his name? Francisco Cara was not too concerned about that because he knew something was up. Because apparently, TJP took on the form of Agnoir, I think that's what he calls it, like a some sort of spiritual vampire or something. And of course, the Bullet Club War Dogs could not even believe what just happened. So they just realized they somehow came back from the dead, no matter what. If that's what they need to do, that's exactly what's going to happen. So apparently, of course, they did the 2-2 onto Maloney to pick up the win. Of course, this is not what things the War Dogs wanted to go, but it did. So, Catch the Two are finally now the champions, finally defeating them by using conventional ways to do that. Now, our next match, we have the New Japan World Television Championship. Hiroshi Tanahashi takes on Zack Sabre Jr. Now, we know these two guys have faced off each other on multiple occasions, but this one was a very interesting thing. Now, as you know, that Hiroshi Tanahashi is the president of the company now. Um, Zack Sabre Jr. said, if I beat him, so that makes me ambassador to New Japan. So basically, Tanahashi's like, yeah, why not? You know, just like that. As long as he gets the title. But you would have assumed that Zack Sabre Jr., due to his technical skills, would have been the biggest factor there. Well, not this time because Tanahashi applied a reverse roll up and then 1, 2, 3 picked up the win. So that's kind of interesting to hear what is happening. So we'll see. Now, our next match, these two guys known each other. They were part of the New Japan Class dojo together. Yuya Uemura and Yota Tsuji. Now, as young lions, as you know, they go their separate ways and two different paths. Yota Tsuji ended up going to the UK with Rev Pro, and then of course Uemura ended up in LA learning from Shibata. So they went their separate ways from that, and they went on their excursions. But however, Yuya Uemura's return kind of put Tsuji in a state where, like, you're copying me, because there's like moments where he felt that Yuya Uemura is imitating him. But we know how Yuya Uemura has been. He's grown up so much. He is right now trying to make up the losses he had prior before leaving New Japan to go on an excursion. But you probably would have assumed, since Tsuji is the fan favorite in this particular match, no one would have expected Yuya Uemura applying the deadbolt. And then, boom, just like that, he won. He finally beat Yota Tsuji. Now, our next match, well, this rivalry has been going far too long. Kaito Kiyomiya teaming up with Shota Umino to take on the House of Torture, Ren Narita and Evil. But once again, with the freaking tactics with House of Torture. I mean, yeah, Kanemaru, Dick, Sho, and Yujiro got involved. But once again, they used conventional tactics, or should I say dirty tactics, in order to pick up the Ren Narita pin Umino. So basically, they think they got away with it. But this is far from over from Umino for what he wants. Now, our next match is the Never Openweight Championship. Now, remember, this has happened before. Tama Tonga was the previous champion before Shingo Takagi, who beat him for the belt. So basically, the only reason that he lost this belt was because, as you know, during the G1, Tama and Shingo ended up in a time limit draw. So it was more like they want to make up for that match. But the obvious question was this wise for Tama to do this? Well, not possibly, but he did request it for a rematch, and of course Shingo had no problem with it. But you know that this was going to be one of the most strongest battles that Tama has to face, knowing the fact that he has to go against a guy who's so strong, so powerful, and all that. And what's interesting, Tama did not even apply the gun stun. He applied a different move to put away Shingo and become once again 3 or 4 time never openweight champion. So yes, that was very good. Now, before our next match, we had a very surprise appearance from Nick Maneth. If you guys know him as Dolph Ziggler, and of course his brother Ryan Maneth was there. No one expected this. Was created a bigger buzz. Many people are now saying, is he now signed with New Japan? That is something we don't know. We do know. I would like to say that he was invited, or he asked, can I please come to your show to check it out? That's one of my speculations that was happening. So let's move on. We have our next match is winner takes all match. The New Japan Strong Openweight Tag Team Championship are on the line, and they will face against, and that is, of course, Hikuleo and El Fantasmo. GOD, they take on the current IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Champions and 3-time World Tag League winners, Bishamon, Yoshihashi, and Hiroki Goto. Now, let's recap a little bit about this. As you know, after the match in all the finals of the World Tag League, it was Bishamon who nominated El Fantasmo and Hikuleo for this match. But not only for them to challenge for their tag belts, but they want theirs, the Strong Openweight Tag Team titles, which is something very interesting to see. However, this is now that, of course, this is becoming serious. During the press conference, Fantasmo and Hikuleo are like, okay, no more fun and games. This is for real now. We know what's at stake. We know we got our belts on the line. We have to beat them in order to keep them, but obtain their belts. So that's the kind of storyline I like, where, of course, they know what's at stake. Winner takes all. You probably would have assumed Bishamon would have taken it, but to me, I felt the real team that should win is Hikuleo and now Fantasmo, because as you know, Fantasmo, who has been betrayed by the Bullet Club, he has found a new home, a new brotherhood that always will have his back. And of course, it fits the perfect story where Hikuleo was there too for him. And now, one thing that was crazy is you would have assumed that the Super Thunder Kiss would have been the final blow. No. Hikuleo went up the freaking turnbuckle, the top of the turnbuckle, and jumped and landed right on Hiroki Goto. And then 1, 2, 3, it was over. I'm like, how much does this guy weight? You know, I mean, we seen Paul White, aka Big Show, did that, but wow, but and no go anyway. But yes, so they picked up a huge win, and now they are double champions. And I think this is one of the most crowning moments for Hikuleo and El Fantasma. Now, our next match is the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. Now, these two guys know each other too well. Now, you have the challenger, Desperado. Now, Desperado has his own way of being who he is. Like, always said that he doesn't want to be the face of the company, but he's always proven he's the best of the junior heavyweight division. You look at Hiramu, who's always been the face. So you got two different junior heavyweights with different philosophies. That's always been the storyline from there. However, it's like they've been going back and forth like this is a never-ending battle between the two of them. But who was going to walk out? It only took two Pinchy Locos by Despy to pick up the win against Hiramu and finally become Junior Heavyweight Championship. So that was pretty interesting. Our next match, this is for the inaugural IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship between David Finlay, Jon Moxley, and Will Ospreay. Now, how did this come about? Now, after the match between Shota Umino and Will Ospreay, as you know, Will Ospreay has unfinished business with Moxley over that loss that took place about a year before. But David Finlay, who felt like, bitches, I'm not going to let this be a singles match. And he also goes out with Moxley saying, you have no right to be in this ring. You didn't get my permission. And of course, he felt that Will Ospreay's time is coming up. He needs to go. But he destroyed the belts that Will Ospreay has hold dear. But due to his actions, it created a belt. And Finlay likes to say, hey, you should thank me. At least we got a new belt that is suited for me. That's what Finlay likes to act. However, you would have assumed. Now, during the press conference, Will Ospreay decided to build a truce with Jon Moxley, a ceasefire. He said, for the first 5 minutes, you and me team up to take on Finlay. And he offered him non-alcoholic beers. However, Moxley has no interest in that, but he did agree with one thing. Okay, you have a deal. 5 minutes. Then all bets are off. So this put in a bit of a disadvantage by Finlay to see that there's an alliance, because originally we could have seen a singles match between them, but it did not. But of course, the effing War Dogs showed up as well. But I like how Alex Coughlin ended up right in the middle of the dang table, you know. But unfortunately, it didn't go exactly to plan. It took Will Ospreay was not willing to go down regardless until Finlay applied multiple into Oblivion to become the first inaugural IWGP Global Heavyweight Champion. And now he goes out running his mouth saying it's time. But the one thing that turned into a more disturbing, he looked up to Nick Menace telling him, what the F are you doing here? Who invited you? This is my turf. So he doesn't like the fact that someone, a well-renowned wrestler who we've known for many years, is in his turf. So he's acting like he had no right to be in New Japan whatsoever. So it became into a brawl. Then he chased him. People said that this became like a case of a court that took place in Nevada, where Nick Mena jumped on top of David Finlay. And of course, he seems like he lost control. Now, Emily May, who we've seen mostly do English backstage interviews in the American New Japan shows, had a talk with them saying that he apologized to the New Japan fans and the officials for what happened. He said, I came here as a fan. But, of course, David Finlay had to ruin it for him. Because, of course, Finlay acts like he thinks he runs the place. But sooner or later, someone's going to put him in his place. Now, our next match is a rematch from Forbidden Door, I believe. Kazuchika Okada versus Bryan Danielson. Now, the obvious question is, will history repeat itself? Will lightning strikes against Okada? That's the most obvious thing. But keep in mind, Daniel Bryanson's methodical tactic is to take out the arm that makes Okada the Rainmaker. Of course, his finisher, the Rainmaker, was his primary weapon that would put away Bryan Danielson. So he did try to do that, but when he applied it for the final time, it took a lot out of Okada to put him away with the Rainmaker. But yes, so that sets it right there. Now, our next and final match, the main event, is the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Tetsuya Naito, who won the G1 Climax, faces off against his old teammate and now current member of Just Five Guys, Sanada. Now, this is the last chance for Naito. Now, let me pull up something. Now, those who don't know, Naito has like a bit of history with New Japan's main event for years. Now, let me pull it up real quick. I know it took a. Okay, WrestleMania 8, Naito gets demoted from the main event. If you guys remember, that was the one where the fans chose the Intercontinental Championship over the heavyweight title, which distraughted him. WrestleMania 12 failed to win the main event. WrestleMania 14, he won the main event, but his moment was destroyed. That was Kenta's fault on that one. And now this is where it gets interesting. He gets to do the roll call that he's always dreamed about to do in Wrestle Kingdom. I mean, calling out all members of Lij, which is something that many people want to hear. But this is a very historic moment because keep in mind these two guys know each other. You probably would have assumed. Of course, Naito talked about his knees are not very well. Sometimes his eyesight is getting a little messed up. But we know Sanada's talented. He was trained by Great Muta. These two guys have a bit of a history. They even tried out in New Japan, but only one succeeded. But in the end, it was Naito with Destino that picked up the win. And of course, his destiny has fulfilled. He finally become the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. Now, he has denied this belt because he did not like what Kota Ibushi did, unifying both the heavyweight and the international championship. So, but he's now made it clear. Since winning the belt, all of his son, effing Evil, and that Dick Togo showed up, tried to ruin his moment, and once again, Evil attempted to take the belt, but Sanada showed up, give Evil the Shining Wizard, just like that. So, Evil's plans has been foiled once again. And of course, Naito thanked Sanada for saving the moment. And of course, got the respect from Naito anyway. And of course, the first time ever we ever seen Sanada cry. He's always called the cold skull, meaning he has no emotions or doesn't talk. But Naito finally did the one thing he wanted, is the roll call, calling out all members of Lij. Of course, we had Bushi, Shingo, Hiromu, Titan, and Yoda Tsuji. So, great moment right there. So I thought, why not? It was fun. So I think that's pretty much it with New Japan. Let's move on with our final review, and that is Ring of Honor. Okay, Ring of Honor. Let's get started. It opened up with, of course, last Saturday with, of course, Eddie Kingston. Not only he retained the ROH title and the New Japan Strong Openweight Championship, but also won the Continental title, making him the modern day Triple Crown champion, just like we've seen in All Japan Pro Wrestling. So, of course, we did witness who will be chasing for the Continental title, but we just don't know who will be the one to challenge him for the ROH title. That's something we will see somewhere down the line. So, that's pretty much what happened after that. Now let's get started with the matches that took place. We have Griff Garrison taking on Serpentico. Now this match came about because of a very from what happened 2 weeks ago. Now there was an 8-man tag match that was set upon with, of course, Griff and Cole Carter teaming with Spanish Announce Project. However, there was some dissensions between both sides of the team up, and of course, a week ago, uh, Serpentico said in Spanish, "You are the idiots that lost the match." So basically, the fault was at Garrison and Cole Carter. So that was more of try to make up the match. However, of course, Carter was going to get involved in this match to ensure Griff Garrison picked up the W. Even Angelico tried to get involved, but it was no luck. It was Griff Garrison with the torture rack bomb. 1, 2, 3. It was done. Now, our next match, we have Lance Archer versus JP Harlow. Now, you can guess that this match was going to be simpler. I mean, JP Harlow tried to hit Lance Archer, but no luck. But however, he ended up in the blackout, giving him the W. Next up, we have Peter Avalon taking on someone he knows, Dalton Castle. Oh my God, Dalton Castle going out saying that, like, that he did not win the television title, eating his heart out, and all of that. But he tried to get out of his funk right here, but he did apply the bangerang in order to pick up the win. So even though he picked up the win, no luck on the television title. Now, we did see Ethan Page alongside Scorpio Sky. Lex Senior interviewed them. Give me a second here. Ethan Page, Scorpio Sky said that, look, he was there for me during my title run, but now it's my turn to repay a favor, saying that it's his time now. So he said, I'm going to take a back seat. So basically, Ethan Page said that, that he's thankful that Scorpio Sky is by his side, that he's thankful that he'll have his back, much like he has his. So he is now going to try to work his way up to the top, which of course we can see. I could see Ethan Page as one of the potential challengers for the Ring of Honor World Championship. That is something we could see down the line. But the obvious question does tell when. So we'll see. Now, we have Queen Aminata making her presence, taking on Maya World. Now, Queen Aminata recently had a match against what's her name? Oh yeah, Mariah May, that match. But however, I have seen Queen Aminata wrestle. I've seen clips of her in Marvelous. She's a good wrestler. I like her gimmick and all that. She picked up a very good win by applying a good submission. I wouldn't be surprised if Queen Aminata is scouted by AEW. I say, how do I say, why not? I would like to see that happen. So let's move on. We have a 3-way tag match. We have the Infantry, Carly Bravo, and the Captain, Sean Dean, versus the boys, Brandon and Brent, versus Shane Taylor's promotion, Shane Taylor himself, and Lee Moriarty. So I have to say, to me, I feel like right now, Shane Taylor promotions are not in a good mood, knowing that they lost their matches in Final Battle. Lee Moriarty was unsuccessful to win the ROH television title. Shane Taylor were unsuccessful to defeat Keith Lee. So basically, now they're putting the entire locker room on notice. So basically, it's like, now we're coming for revenge. Infantry are one of those wrestlers I do believe do have an opportunity for the ROH tag team titles. But it was, in fact, of course, Lee Moriarty with a spike pile driver, with a package pile driver on one of the boys. 1, 2, 3, it was over, sending a clear message to the entire locker room. Now, we saw Griff Garrison pick up a win against Serpentico, all happy and all this. However, both Cole Carter and Griff got attacked by, right in the lower knee, by Spanish Announce Project in retaliation for their earlier match. So we're going to see a never-ending war between both sides. So that's going to be interesting. Now, our next match, we had Red Velvet making her Ring of Honor debut, taking on someone who is familiarized in Ring of Honor, Alex Gracia. Now, those who don't know, when there was that tournament for the ROH Women's title, Alex Gracia was involved in that one, but unsuccessful. So it's great to see her back. I thought this match was pretty great for Red Velvet. She picked up a nice win when she applied a kick flip onto Alex Gracia to pick up the win. I wouldn't be surprised if we see her more often in Ring of Honor. I mean, that's something we could definitely see. Now, our next match, we have a very interesting tag match. Layla Hirsch and Rachel Ellering taking on Diamante and Mercedes Martinez. Now, this match came about, as you know, Layla Hirsch and Rachel Ellering saw the true colors of Maria, what she did a couple weeks ago. However, Layla Hirsch and Rachel Ellering, of course, they're both inside the ROH Women's World Television title conversation. And of course, they said, look, right now, we're looking for competition. That's all that matters. And of course, Diamante and Mercedes actually picked it up. But one thing was interesting towards the end of this match. Rachel took a bullet for Layla Hirsch, despite that she was the legal person. Even though um, Mercedes applied the air raid crash, picked up the win, it was over like that. But however, I think Layla Hirsch realized she can count on Rachel Ellering no matter what. I mean, of course, Rachel's not going to allow her to, you know, to take a downfall or anything. So I think right now we could see. I wouldn't be surprised, as you know, recently AEW there was been talks about the possibilities of an AEW Women's Tag Team titles. I wouldn't be surprised if Rachel and Layla are involved in that. I mean, who knows? But we will see that. But I would like to see that myself. Now, the ROH World Television is defended for the first time. This is Kyle Fletcher's reign. He takes on Willie Mack. I thought this match was fantastic. I mean, you saw the fighting spirit with Willie Mack. He refuses to stay down no matter what. But the one thing that was interesting is that Fletcher could not apply the hammerlock power driver or tombstone, but he was able to apply a different type, a power driver, to put away Willie Mack. So that was effective. And now this is his first victory right here. Now, before our last interview in Ring of Honor, Lexi Neer interviewed Dalton Castle once again with the funk about not winning the ROH World Television title. Here comes Johnny TV with his wife saying that, all this and that embarrass him. So that sort of thing. Our main event, we have Gringo Loco and the Workhorsemen, Anthony Henry and JD Drake, taking on the combine of Lee Johnson, Commander, and Hijo de Vikingo. I thought this match was fantastic. Some great moments. I mean, we know the Commander and Gringo Loco had history in the past and all this and that, but you cannot deny the talent with certain wrestlers. But it was Commander who picked up a huge win onto Gringo Loco to pick up the win. I thought, great. That's what we're talking about. So, yes. So, I think that's pretty much it right now, what we have. So, let's just end it right here with all our reviews and move on with news up. Okay, so welcome to our news updates. So let's begin with updates with the promotions on their upcoming events and everything else. Now, as you know, this coming Saturday, MLW has announced for their upcoming show before the King of the College Steam show on that very same day. They announced that there will be a somewhat of a number one contendership for the Women's Featherweight Championship. It's going to be Delmi Exo versus Tiara James. I think this is going to be a fantastic match to hear about. Then, of course, as you know, TNA are back with their upcoming show Hard to Kill on the 13th of January. They announced for another participant for the Knockouts Ultimate X match. We have Tasha Steelz will be participating, which is going to be great. Now, the Jericho Cruise is back, baby. That's right. Jericho Cruise has announced for their upcoming voyage that will take place from the 26th to the 30th of January from Miami to Kosulime. I think that's but however, as you know, he has The Rock and Wrestling Rager taking place. Several matches have been announced for these particular days. We have one match. We have the Don Callis family, consistent of Hobbs and Fletcher, and of course Mark Davis, who we haven't seen for quite some time. I'm surprised that he will be involved in this one. They take on Speedball Jericho. That's right, Jericho and Paul White will team up with none other than Speedball Mike Bailey. I think that's gonna be one hell of a match. And of course, we do have other matches such as Top Flight and Action and Andretti teaming up. They take on Commander, Vikingo, and Cero Miedo. That's right. That's going to be a good match to enjoy too. Now, those who don't know that the Jericho Cruise does have a title called the Jericho Cruise Oceanic title. There's going to be a number one contendership match for that one. They announced for Michael Oku, who will be participating. He takes on Mike Bailey. I'm like, whoa, that's going to be great. However, whoever wins this match will face the current champion, and that is none other than always ready Matt Cardona. So yes, so we're going to see that. Now, I kind of failed to mention this particular person participating in a independent show. A former WWE talent has been announced to participate at the What a Show event on the 17th of February in Texas, and that is Elijah. If you guys don't remember him, you may know him as Elias. That's right, Elias is back. He is making his Wrestling Revolver debut. I'm so interested how this is going to be. So yes, I'm sure many of you will do the same thing too. Now, for our GCW updates here, we have the coldest winter taking place on February the 3rd. They announced for Alex Hammerstone taking on the root of all evil, the most despicable person, Charles Mason. So I hope Hammerstone gives him the hammer. And then, of course, as you know, we have the Touch for the Sky event in Dallas on the 23rd of February. They announced the debut of Zilla Fatu, the son of the late Umaga, will be involved. He teams up with a fellow member of the family, Jacob Fatu. So this is going to be great. I would be surprised if he becomes a member of the South Pacific Savages. That's something we could expect. Now, as you know, KAOZ, the Mexican promotion KAOZ Lucha Libre, has announced more add-on for their 39th anniversary show in March. They announced Alpha Wolf and Dragon Bane will participate. And then finally, as you know, we have the GCW Collective taking place in Philadelphia during WrestleMania week. Excuse me. Excuse me. Now, as you know, the collective it goes on for a couple of days. Now, this is the schedule and what events they'll be taking place from then on. Now, on the 4th of April, which is a Thursday, we have at 11 a.m. is Defy Wrestling. 4 p.m. Josh Barnett's Bloodsport 10. 8 p.m. DDT Pro Wrestling, and then finally at 11:59 p.m. close to midnight, Jersey Championship Wrestling, JCW. And then the following day, on April 5th, on a Friday, we have at 11 a.m. Tokyo Yoshi Pro Wrestling. At 3 p.m., Progress Wrestling. At 7 p.m., Joey Janela Spring Break 8. And then, of course, GCW has For the Culture at 11:59 p.m. And then finally, Saturday, well, this one's a very interesting one. On the at 11 a.m., Effie's Big Gay Brunch. Now at 7:30 p.m., they never mention what's in there. It's all blurred out. Don't ask me what it is. But at 11:57 a.m., we have Joey Janela's Spring Break Cluster Fuck Forever. So yes, so this is what's taking place on that. Now, let's talk about certain developments that have been happening, especially with promotions, wrestlers, and all that. This one came around. I don't know for sure if it's 100% true or not. It's been reported that Clark Connors His contract with New Japan has expired. As you know, he just recently had a match in Wrestle Kingdom. I'm not sure if that's officially his last match or ever. I haven't heard anything about this, but it was reported by Wrestle Purist, from my understanding, a news outlet out in the UK. Now, plans for, of course, with WWE in 2024. Now, as you know, they've been making their way internationally with certain events. Now, people are asking, is this going to happen for WrestleMania and Royal Rumble? Well, apparently no. They made it clear that the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania will be normally having their shows in the U.S. However, certain ones that will be announced outside of the U.S. will take place. The Elimination Chamber will be at Australia, um, Backlash in France, Money in the Bank in Canada, and then finally uh, Bash at Berlin in Germany. So yes, so plans have been made for that. Now, as you know, we mentioned WrestleMania week will take place real soon, in April. Well, Stardom has announced that uh, they'll be heading. Uh, hold on, no, never mind. Scratch that. Never mind. Sorry, my handwriting's all messed up. Fortunately, once again, Stardom has developed new injuries again, and certain wrestlers will be out for quite some time. I mean, this is messed up. I mean, this needs to end with the injuries. Now, four names have been announced: Miyu Imasaki, Tekla, Hina, and Mai Sakurai. Now, this is what they said. They will be absent for the January 6th and through the 8th show. This is the result of what's happening. Miyu Imasaki is suffering from a flu. Tekla said that she needs treatment for a neck injury, so she'll be taking some time off. Hina had injured her collarbone in the previous match, and then of course Mai Sakurai injured her sternum in that very same match too. So basically, they're out for a while. So it's no telling when they'll be back, but we'll just hope they get better and he'll recover soon. Now, this is the last thing we're going to talk about. A very interesting press conference was developed. Um, Apparently, a new an alliance of promotions has been formed called the Asia Pacific Federation of Wrestling. Now, as you know, there's the Japan Pro Wrestling Alliance. Basically, those are within the country of Japan, like New Japan, Pro Wrestling Noah, DDT, All Japan. They have their own thing, alliances between each other now. But however, Stardom and New Japan decided to build an alliance with promotions outside of Japan, but in the Asian Pacific locations. And the promotions that they decided to build up alliance. Here, what they have. Let me pull it up real quick. I wrote that. We have a promotion out of Singapore called Rappelmax. Now, I did find a video of an event from them from back in 2018. I haven't seen it yet, but I'll put that. I'll talk about that on the podcast and maybe put that on a special episode. And then there's a promotion out of Taiwan called Puzzle. Don't know much about them, but yes. And then there's another promotion based out of China called DFW. Don't know either. But the final promotion that was announced is strictly from Thailand, and that is Set Up. Now, I am familiarized with Set Up. They do have a partnership with Got to Move because of their history with Emi Sakura and all that. Set Up also helped out with for Stardom when Mina, Yuna Mizumori, Shuri, and Waka went to do their little thing down in Thailand. So they were very helpful with their They decided to give them the hospitality, their Thailand hospitality. So it's kind of interesting that they're now part of this, and it's very interesting. So we had representatives from each of the promotions. Mina represented Stardom along with Okada, Toto Okada, and of course Yuji Nagata, and the chairman was there too. So everybody from the respective promotions were there. So I'm looking forward how this is going to go with all of them. So I think that's pretty much it right now, what we have with all of our news updates. So let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode coming up. As you know, after Wrestle Kingdom, we do have New Year's Bash. I'm looking forward to do that one as well. Also, we have AEW Rampage and NXT Level Up. Let's just hope we do have an NXT Level Up to review. If not, then I'll put something else instead. I still got some wrestlings that I haven't seen from 2023, and also the ones from 2020 starting to 2024 from Noah and All Japan Pro Wrestling. Those are still I haven't seen yet. We do have a Tokyo Yoshi Pro Wrestling event as well for 2024. There's still some stuff, but I'll get through all of them as soon as possible. So be patient with me and all that. And those who have me on my podcast, DWZ podcast with J Rod, I have failed to do one today due to how the year started out. But I'll get that done as soon as possible as well. But as for now, I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. And have a nice day. Bang.